Chelsea have just drawn 1-1 to Man City at the Etihad. And although many of you may disagree with me, that was an incredibly entertaining game of football. Both sides had chances to score more than just the one goal, especially City, but that was almost a counter-attacking and pressing masterclass going against a possessional masterclass. I thought Chelsea defended their defensive third like their life depended on it. They pressed out of possession really well to cause City a lot of trouble, and every time they did win the ball through the press, they counterattacked very effectively. The only thing that did let them down was their decision making in the final third, which we'll talk about later. But overall, full credit goes to Pochettino for setting up his team to play fearlessly against the best team in the world. Not for 1 second in that game did I feel like Chelsea were not up to the task. They had a game plan and they executed it almost to perfection. And they did this at the home ground of the treble holders. So there's a lot to talk about in this video. Make sure you stick around till the end. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, please do your boy a favor, like and subscribe. By far the most impressive thing that I saw from Pochettino's side today was their pressing coordination and intensity. And we have a few clips from the first 15 minutes to show you guys, starting with this clip from the 3rd minute where Ake has the ball on the left-hand side, and that makes Gallagher join the press by pushing up into Rodri, and Palmer's marking Alvarez on the right, and Jackson is up front putting pressure on Ederson just in case Ake plays the ball back there. Now, as Ake plays this ball to Doku on the left-hand side, you can see Malo Gusto pressing up with him to deny him any space to turn in that direction. And as we pause right here, look at how tight Chelsea's shape is in this situation. Gallagher is still marking Rodri over here, so Doku can't really pass it here. Caicedo is ready to pounce onto Alvarez, so Alvarez is not an option. And Palmer's already applying pressure in this area and even getting towards Doku here. So he has to release the ball, but he has nowhere else to go other than passing it to either Ake or going straight back to Ederson, which is what he does. Now, as Ederson receives this, again, look at Chelsea's shape over here. His option is pretty much to go to Ake or to go long. So he decides to go to Ake, and we pause it right here. Look at how tight Chelsea's shape is in this moment. Ake can't play this ball to Rodri or Ederson because of the 3 Chelsea players over here, and he can't really play it into midfield in front of him because of the 3 Chelsea players behind those guys. So Ake's only real option is to go long into the midfield, where Erling Haaland actually has to drop deep and control a bouncing ball, and his only passing option is KDB over here. And of course, as he tries to make that pass, it's very easy for Enzo Fernandez to collect the loose ball and play it back to Levi Colwill, who basically regains possession for Chelsea. So that was 13 seconds of pressing done by 7 or 8 Chelsea players, and they were able to win the ball back off of that. There are probably only 3 teams in world football that can press City this well with this level of confidence and force them into making this mistake. And that's probably Liverpool, Arsenal, and maybe Madrid on their day. For 10th place Chelsea to do this when they're so low on confidence and they're trying to rebuild under Pochettino is absolutely nuts. But we're not quite done there yet, because we have this clip from the 13th minute where Walker's playing a ball out to Foden near the touchline, and again you can see the Chelsea shape collapsing in and around the ball carrier to win the ball back. As soon as Foden receives the ball and turns on the inside to start dribbling again, Gallagher sniffs it out and plays this tackle right here, and within 3 seconds of game time right after that, Gallagher now has the opportunity to actually play Chelsea on a 3v3 situation on the counterattack. And notice, within about 4 to 5 seconds of actually winning the ball back, there's now a situation where one pass can break the entire City midfield line. So as Enzo receives the ball from Gallagher here, he now plays a very easy ball into Sterling over here, which puts him one-on-one with the Kanji. And then he gets to the edge of the box and kind of scuffs his shot in this situation right here. But again, the important thing to remember is that a quick coordinated press from a few Chelsea players leads to a turnover at the wrong time for City, and then 11 seconds later, Chelsea had a shot on target. Now we have our final clip that displays Chelsea's pressing, and this is from the 15th minute of the game. Foden here is about to play this ball into Akanji in the middle, and once again he's surrounded by 3 Chelsea players who are ready to collapse in on him. As Akanji receives the ball, Gallagher presses him from his blind side and pokes the ball straight out to Chilwell right there. And as Chilwell gets the ball, he sets off Sterling on the counterattack with his first touch, and once again we have Chelsea passing City's midfield with one pressing action followed by one pass. And once again, they are 3v3 on the attack against City's back line. Now, as Sterling momentarily loses balance right here because of Akanji, City players kind of manage to get back into their shape, and the counterattack is kind of dead, at least in the sense that it was a few frames ago. But this is City just getting fortunate, frankly, because if Chelsea managed to score from this attack because Sterling maintains his balance and finds the right pass, I don't think there's anything City can complain about. It was just a mistake that led to a goal. So with this clip, I've shown you 3 clips from the first 15 minutes of a 90-minute game. Chelsea had so many opportunities on the counterattack throughout those 90 minutes. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that most of their 9 shots, if not all of them, came from situations where they pressed City, won the ball back, went on the counter, and took a shot. And I know for a fact that all of Chelsea's 3 big chances that game, including Sterling's goal, came exactly because of that. So Pochettino deserves massive credit for the work he's been doing on the training ground, because this kind of stuff doesn't just happen randomly. You don't just go to the Etihad and make City sweat for 83 minutes, especially when they're on a 11-game win streak in all competitions. But the credit for Pochettino and the coaching staff doesn't stop there, because we have to talk about Chelsea's build-up play from the back in that game. So we go to the 7th minute of that game, and we have Levi Colwill on the ball just outside the box over here, and you can see City have their front 5 available to press in the middle, but they're not as aggressive as Chelsea are with their press. As we play along, Colwill plays it to Petrovic in goal, and immediately you see De Bruyne making a move towards the center of the goal, and then he's moving further forward to press Disasi once the ball doesn't go to Caicedo. So you'll see him moving towards Disasi here. And as soon as we pause it here, I want you guys to appreciate something about the Chelsea setup, specifically the position that's picked up by Cole Palmer in this area. Palmer is on the inside half space here instead of being out wide, which is his starting position, which means Disasi now has 2 passing lanes to choose from instead of just 1 if he was out here. And that also means that Man City have 2 passing lanes to block instead of just 1. When we watched City in possession before, and Ake was in a similar position on the other side to Disasi here, Ake had only 1 passing option to Doku out on the left, or he had to go back to Ederson, which led to him kicking the ball into midfield and losing possession ultimately. But in this case, Disasi can go to Palmer if needed, but he actually decides to play a really accurate pass into Nicholas Jackson in the middle, over the top, just like Ake tried, but Disasi's actually successful with it, and Jackson is able to control it with his first touch and play it around the corner into Gallagher over here, who dribbles into the City half, and now again Chelsea are in a position where they can create something dangerous within just a few passes. Now as we skip forward a few seconds in that same attack, you have Palmer on the ball wide right assessing his options. He has Gusto getting on the overlap next to him, and he has Gallagher available short, both of which are reasonably good options. Instead, he decides to cut inside and look for something better right over here, in this position right here. By playing the ball through this narrow gap into Enzo Fernandez through 3 City players, Enzo is able to turn around the corner to Gallagher, and Gallagher is able to basically create a situation where he cuts it back and it's just behind Jackson and just in front of Sterling. I'm not going to play the full clip here, but what happens is Jackson makes the run deeper into the box and Sterling's quite not able to get onto it, and the ball ends with Walker. So this entire chance for Chelsea, including that sublime vision from Cole Palmer where he goes through 3 players, doesn't happen without that pass from Disasi into Jackson in the first place. And it also doesn't happen without Palmer's positioning in the inside half space that invites a City midfielder to press it. I'm telling you guys, Pochettino is definitely building something with this young team. The patterns of play that I'm seeing both defensively and in possession are the hallmarks of a great team in the making. Of course, they're not quite there yet because they keep making 1 or 2 mistakes in each play where the finished product isn't good enough or there's a misplaced pass or something like that, but that can be fixed over a 12 to 18 month period. And let's not forget, this is a very young team. The average age of the starting 11 today was 23.4 years. These guys are literally babies in footballing terms. Next, we cut to the 10th minute where Colwill has the ball again in the box, and this time the City press is much more aggressive with both Foden and De Bruyne out coming to close him down. As we play along, Colwill fires it into Gallagher in midfield through this narrow corridor, and he's able to find Chilwell first time to get Chelsea past the City press. I want you guys to take a second to admire this pass from Colwill, because it takes supreme confidence to play this pass as a 20-year-old central defender at the home of the champions. And it's not just natural confidence from Colwill that's enabling him to do this. It's confidence given to him by his coach to make this pass as long as it's on, because he could easily lose this ball to De Bruyne here and give City an easy goal. All he has to do is misplace the pass by 1 or 2 degrees. But the focus is on the benefits of getting the pass right and the confidence to play it. And that right there is what a top coach does. You don't focus on the negatives, you focus on the positives of taking a risk and doing it well. As we play it along, Gallagher plays this off first time to Chilwell and makes a run into the space in behind Walker here. But De Bruyne ends up getting a touch on the ball and it goes out for a Chelsea throw right here. Again, Chelsea play 2 bold passes in high pressure situations, and the third pass almost gets them in behind the City defense. For our last clip of this video, we get to the 19th minute of the first half where Disasi is on the ball inside his own half. He's just received this ball from Petrovic, and City are pressing high again with the 4 players that are near Disasi here. As we play along, Disasi takes one touch and fires it into Palmer up ahead. And once again, it is a tight passing lane through which he attempts this pass, which shows you the supreme confidence from the player in himself and the manager in the player. Also worth noting here is that Palmer is once again inside his half space again, instead of just hugging the touchline, which allows Disasi to make this pass and also opens up the angle to play to Gusto. As Palmer turns around in this situation, Ruben Diaz is now in trouble because Gusto is getting beyond him right there, and you can see he's beating him for pace. But somehow Ruben Diaz manages to get a touch on this through ball from Palmer and it goes out for a Chelsea throw-in. But you guys can see once again how with just one bold pass under pressure, Chelsea can beat the press, and the second pass from Chelsea almost gets them in behind City. Their build-up play is so fast and so effective. I'm just very impressed. You have to applaud Pochettino and the coaching staff for giving this young team the confidence and instilling the patterns of play within them, because it is very hard to do either of these things. And look, I just showed you a few examples of good play in possession here. There were countless other examples throughout these 90 minutes that just impressed me. Once they tweak a few things in their system and the squad becomes more experienced, there's no telling how good this Chelsea team can be. While we're on the topic of building out from the back, I want to give a quick shout out to Axel Disasi. This guy was an absolute tank today. So impressive on the ball in that game. I noted 2 specific passes from the 57th and 66th minute that single-handedly created 2 chances for Chelsea. And he was immense defensively as well. He had 3 blocks, 16 clearances with 11 of them being headed, 5 ball recoveries, and he was only dribbled past once. He was easily my man of the match, and for what it's worth, I didn't see any of this when Chelsea first got him from Monaco. I knew he was a France international that made the World Cup squad, and I knew he was highly touted while he was at Monaco, but I didn't see this level of quality in him. So Chelsea definitely have a top talent in him for years to come. In closing thoughts, I want to address 2 specific Chelsea players in Nicholas Jackson and Raheem Sterling. For those of you that regularly follow my channel, you know I'm a United fan and I cover most of United's games, but you also know that I've followed Chelsea very closely since Bowley purchased the club, because frankly, you guys have been the most interesting club to me outside of United for the last 2 years. Jackson and Sterling are definitely the weakest links in this team, and they are huge problems for you guys. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say when Sterling scored the goal today from a Jackson assist, but I counted at least 4 other opportunities where either Jackson or Sterling cost Chelsea a goal or a high quality chance because of poor passing or a poor first touch. I'm dead serious. If you replace Sterling with someone like Nkunku on the left, and maybe you replace Jackson with an Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney, Chelsea are scoring 3 or 4 goals on the counterattack today, because that's how open City were at the back. You guys have worked so hard on the build-up play between your defense and your midfield. The passing and movement is just sublime. And that's why in almost every clip that we saw in this video, within 2 to 3 passes, you were able to beat the press and get past City. It was just in the final third that you were unable to make things happen. And why was that? It was because of Sterling and Jackson. I'm not saying that they're useless, but I just think they can't be the decision makers in the final third. Maybe you can get away with one of them in the team, and I'd pick Sterling over Jackson if that's the case, but you can't actually make meaningful progress as a team with both of them playing game in, game out. Perhaps this is a hot take. I'm not a Chelsea fan. You guys are. Get in the comments below with your thoughts. Do you agree with me, or am I just full of crap? Last thing I'll say before we adjourn is I think Pochettino made one big mistake today by subbing off Cole Palmer in the 70th minute or so and switching to the back five. I thought if he had maintained some of that attacking threat that he had for the first 70 minutes, City would have been a little more scared of the counterattack and respected them a little bit more, instead of just bombarding the Chelsea box like they did, which led to the Rodri shot that scored the goal. So despite all the praise that I gave Poch in this video, I thought he got that substitution wrong, because I think with a 4-3-3 shape, Chelsea probably win that game 1-0 or even 2-0. But hey, nobody said Poch is perfect. Every manager makes mistakes. Just like this young team is learning, he will learn how to manage these young players in tough games like these. But Poch is definitely the man to take Chelsea forward. I've seen enough from this game and enough from the patterns of play that I've been seeing from Chelsea that I think he's the main man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.